In this final episode, we'll attach the tabletop to the carcass, install our drawer, and create a raised panel drawer front. To install the top, I'll use the domino to create 2 mortises on each side. Then I'll run the screws through those mortises to allow the wood to expand and contract over the different seasons. Using a 5mm cutter, and I've changed the depth to 20 so it'll go all the way through the plywood. So I've gone ahead and I've evened up the spacing both on the sides and the front. Now I can attach the top to the carcass itself. Next step in the process is to install the drawer. I've gone ahead and built the drawer. Now I want to install the drawer slides. For a drawer this size, I like to install the hardware on the cabinet itself first, and then the drawer. If you want a more in-depth look at drawer box construction and installation, check out the previous build series in the link in the description. With the drawer installed, next step in the process is to create a raised panel. But we're going to do it with the TS55F instead of a table saw or a router table. I've gone ahead and cut the piece of cherry to fit the opening with a slight reveal around all 4 sides. When the raised panel is complete, I want it to be flush with the face frame. So I'll go ahead and make a mark. Then I can adjust the jig to cut that with the TS55F. To create the raised panel drawer front, I've created a jig that rests on the material supports of my MFT cart that will hold it in the correct position so that it's flush with the MFT, which will allow the guide rail to sit right on top of the material. I've beveled the saw to 18 degrees. That will give me a nice, even support to cut that bevel across the entire top of the board. Once the board is clamped in place, positioning the guide rail is crucial. I want to make sure that I'm 2 millimeters past my line on both sides, so get some sort of stop that you can check it with. That way you can have the same reveal all the way around the board. I'm switching out to the clear plastic viewing window just so I have a clear view of where I'm cutting. With the top of the panel cut, I can go ahead and cut the opposite side. With having my square set to the same exact dimension as I cut the first side, then it's just a matter of butting up my splinter guard to my guide rail, clamping it down, and now they'll both do the same. Now I can switch over to cutting the short sides. I created another jig that's going to hold me flush with the MFT, but also square up and down. As I mentioned before, I could use a table saw or a router table to create the raised panel. But because of the size of the shop I have, the track saw takes up less space, and it still has the accuracy and the precision that I need for this application. With all the cuts complete, I can do a little bit of light sanding and then install it on the drawer. I want to use the clamping elements to hold this in place while I do the sanding, but this thickness is less than 18 millimeters, which is the thickness of the clamping elements. So all I need to do is just cut a couple shims, put those in place. I can still use the clamping elements, and it keeps it out of the way of the sander. I'll be using the DTS 400 with 120 grit granite. For installing the drawer front, I've gone ahead and put some double-sided tape on the drawer box itself. Then I have some playing cards here that I've used as spacers to get a nice even reveal around. With the drawer front installed, the last thing I need to do is install the drawer hardware. That just requires one center line from left to right, top to bottom, drill a hole, and put the screw in. I'm really happy on how this bedside table turned out. For right now, I'm going to leave it raw until I decide exactly what type of finish I want to put on it. Thanks for joining me on this build series. I hope you picked up a couple tips and tricks along the way. If you have any questions or ideas for future build series, let me know in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next project.